Hey y'all, I'm Elisa, the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com, and today we're going to talk about how to cut out printables on both the Silhouette and the Cricut. This is probably the biggest reason people buy these cutting machines, so that they can cut out digital images and things that they're using in their crafting. And so let's talk about how to do that. We are going to start with the Silhouette. The first thing you're going to want to do for both of these, I'm going to open where these images are. We're going to use the Autumn Leaves printables that I am including as the cut file this month. This is a PDF. I'm going to include it as a PDF and a PNG. You have to have a PNG or a JPEG file in order to cut on your cutting machines, either the Cricut or the Silhouette. So if you download a PDF, you need to change it over to a PNG. Now, I've included the PNG file as part of the downloads, so you don't have to do this with this one. You can just use the direct PNG file. But if you have a PDF, let's talk about how to convert it. So here is my PDF. I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to Export. Right here, I have my PDF open in whatever preview software you have, File, Export, and now I'm going to export it as a PNG file. You can see it's ready. I would like to increase the resolution, so I'm going to do 100, and we're going to do Autumn Leaves, PNG, and I'm going to save that. So now it's saved as a PNG file. I'll be able to open it and use it in either the Silhouette or the Cricut software. That is going to be step one, no matter which machine you're using. Now let's talk about how to get a cut file ready for the Silhouette. Okay, so I have my Silhouette software open. The first thing I want you to do is come over to this settings panel right down here. Open Preferences panel. I'm going to click that. I'm going to come over with here to advanced, and this is most likely set to auto, which is 1,000, the packet size. I want to go to 500 bytes. That's what I don't want, or that's what I want to do. That will make your cutting more accurate. So we're coming to that, and now let's open that file. So I'm going to open, File, Open. I'm looking for the Autumn Leaves that I saved earlier, so let's find that right here. This is the one that I downloaded, Autumn Leaves PNG, and we're going to open that, and ta-da, I have my Autumn Leaves printable right here. Some setup things. I'm over here on Page Setup, that's the top icon, and you're going to want to make sure your media size is set correctly. Meaning we're going to print, so we're printing 8.5 by 11. It probably was set to this when you opened your screen, which is 12 by 12. You want to come back and do 8.5 by 11. And then you're going to want to turn on registration marks. So the 1, 2, 3rd icon over here, you want your registration marks on. That is showing a print and cut item. All right, these black boxes and these grid pieces right there are what your printer prints in order to communicate with your Silhouette. They have to be there. Now I have my image. I'm done with page setup. I have my image. Say I want to print it a little bit bigger than what is showing up right there. I can just drag it, make it a little bit bigger. Some important things to remember. No part of your image can be in the gray area, the gray kind of X'd out area. I cannot set up my image this way, or else it will misread and that will not cut correctly. So I'm just going to kind of center it in here, and now I'm all set. So got my image, got my page size, everything's looking good. Next step is to come over to the butterfly, which is the trace panel. So I'm going to click that. The trace panel is now opening up. I'm going to press select trace area, and most of the time you're wanting to cut out all of this business. So I'm going to select everything. See, everything is equally in there, and now the yellow appears. That's the cut area. It looks like some shading. Right now it's set on solid fill. I want to go to outline. That's a little closer, but it's still a little bit too, there's too many cuts going on. So the first thing I'm going to want to change is threshold. So I'm going to move threshold generally up into the 90s, 95, somewhere in there. That's where you're wanting it. Maybe 96. Let's see if we can move it up just a little bit. Perfect. So now I have a good outline around all my images, but this image is showing me some extra kind of junky stuff. So what I want to do to get rid of the junky stuff is I'm going to go to the despeckle threshold, and I'm going to move that until all of those little dots, you can see them, I'm dragging really slowly, all those little dots disappear. That looks good. If you go too far, you can see some of the outlines around some of my images disappear. I don't want that. So I'm going to move it down manually until all of those reappear. No extra dots. That is looking good. Now, this is not complete yet. The last thing you need to do is pick one of these trace styles. There's trace, trace the outer edge, and trace and detach. In this case, we're going to do trace the outer edge. Click that, and now it has traced the outer edge. So when I zoom in, what you can see is there is a red line, very, very faint red line that's going around each of those images. That is showing you where it's going to cut. Now, you can cut it like this. That is perfectly fine. But most of the time you're wanting a little bit of a border, a nice border around your images. Let's talk about how to create that border. I'm going to close the trace. Now, you're wanting to select. There's two ways. Notice when I select, I can select. There's two possible. There's a bigger rectangle and a smaller rectangle, if that makes sense. I moved it ever so slightly. So if I just click the white area, that's going to be the bigger rectangle. That is selecting the printable part. I want to select the red section. So I'm clicking very close. Do you see how that rectangle got smaller? Let me show you again. There's the larger rectangle. That is selecting the whole thing. I want to select just the cuttable parts. That's really important. So we're coming to the offset tool. We have the cuttable parts selected. Offset is the star over here. Open that up. You can press offset immediately, and it's going to give you the offset. My offset is set at 0.05. That is usually what I like to do. All of that looks great, and so I press apply. And now I have all of that offset. Now, let me show you what happens if, let's do this, hold on. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's delete our offsets here. And let me show you what happens. Let me delete these and let me show you what happens if you select the wrong rectangle. Okay, we have our offset tool. If I select the wrong rectangle and I press offset, you can see a red line has now appeared around the whole image, the whole big image, the whole big rectangle. That's not what we want. So I want to cancel that. That was incorrect. I want it to be just around the little pieces, offset, and apply. That is what you are going for. Now, you're still not done, because if you zoom in, you're going to see there's two sets of red lines. You have the offset line, but then you still have that line that's nice and close in. You don't want that. So what you do, click very close to that inner red line and then simply press delete. Now all of those red lines have disappeared, and now you just have your offset. So now you would be ready to cut. There's one more thing that I want to show you how to do to clean up some of your cut images, and that's right in here. You see how there's this little red circle? I'm going to click on this. That's has selected that cut line, and I don't want that little red circle. So what I'm going to do is I clicked on it. I'm going to go to Object, Release Compound Path, and now I'm just going to click. I click off. Now I'm going to just click that inside part where that circle is, press delete, and now that won't cut. I can come do the same thing over here. So I'm going to press this, so just that leaf is selected. Object, Release Compound Path, click off. Now click on that little piece, delete. And I always go through and just kind of check my images. Same thing right here. I have that little cut piece I don't want there. Object, release compound path, click off, click on, delete. And let's also do that with this one. Object, release compound path, click off, click on, delete. Let's just double check up top and make sure that this is all looking good. Okay, that all looks good. Now you're ready to print and cut. So what you would do is come File, Print. This will send it to your printer. You have to keep these registration marks on. Keep it in the full size sheet of paper. Do not cut it down yourself. Print. I'm going to cancel right now because we're not going to do this at this second. We're going to send. You can see that when I go to send, anything in red is what is being cut. Everything that's faded out is printed. So that looks correct to me. I set right here the medium that I'm cutting on, which in this case is copy paper. If you are using cardstock, you want to set all of that, and it has defaults that you can change over here as you start to learn more. And then once you've printed it, you put it on your mat, and then you send it and you are ready to go. All right, let's talk about how to do the same thing, but on our Cricut software. Cricut has started making it a lot easier because they have added an offset tool. When I first started using my Cricut, that wasn't a thing. So I'm super glad that they have added that. So I've opened Cricut. Let's just close this. And I'm going to come to a new project. So I'm just opening a new project on Cricut. And the first thing I want to do is upload that image. So I'm going to upload image, browse, and let's find where I had that PNG. So we're going to come here and here and Printables, and here we are. That's the autumn leaves that I want to use. I'm going to press open. Now you select your image type. 99% of the time you need to select complex. Trust me, you definitely want it to be complex. So continue. And there we go. So I have Cricut Access, which allows me to easily remove the backgrounds. So what I can do is come through, and now all of the background has been removed. Now you see some little white spaces right in here. I don't mind those. If you want those cut out as well, you just click on them and see they will disappear right in there. And otherwise that looks good. So everything in the checkered area is stuff that is invisible, and so you're getting those clean images. So I'm going to press apply and continue. What I want is not just the cut image, I want print then cut. That's how I want it saved. So I'm going to press print then cut and then upload. Now that is in my library. I can click on it and I can add it to my canvas. So as soon as I load it, you can see over here when I have my list of what's in here, there is a little exclamation point in red. That's not good. What it's saying is that the image is too large. It tells you exactly what size image you can use. So 6.75 by 9.25. So what I'm going to come over here is just select that up in the width, 6.75. And now it is scaled down. My little exclamation point has disappeared, and now my image is the correct size. It's going to be adjusted one more time, but we'll talk about that in just a second. So, ta-da! I have this printable image. If I sent it to the maker right now, it would print and then it would cut very close to the edges. Let's talk about how we're going to do the offset. So I have it selected. I'm coming to offset. And you can see it's kind of working. I'm not pressing anything yet. You see the green at the top as it goes through. It's adding the offset, and I'm going to let it do it, but look at how big that offset is because it's set to 0.25. What I want it to be is 0.05. So I type that in, and then I'm going to, before I press apply, I just click off in there. That's a much better looking offset. So I'm going to press apply. And now you have that black outline. Really, it's a black solid piece right underneath. What I do is come over here where it's black, and you want to change it to white. And now that has disappeared, but it's still there. So all of that is there. Don't move it. I'm going to press, or I'm going to select everything. Both of those are selected, and I'm going to come over here to flatten. That is going to be your best friend. Press flatten. Now it's all one piece. You'll notice it's come back up. My little exclamation point is back here because my image got a little bit bigger, so I need to come back over to the width. 6.75 is what we're going for. Now it's good. Now we are all set. So when it prints, it's still just going to print the leaves, but there's this white border, this imaginary white border that's going to be on the page that will help with the cutting. So I'll come to make it. There, now it's all set. That was funny. It's all set. So you see it's set to print on the page just like this. Print then cut is what it is set to. You see 8.5 by 11. We are all set to go. So then you would go to continue. My maker is not currently on, but the first thing you would do is come to send to printer. I don't want to add the bleed. Take that off. It's all set right here. Go. And then we will be able to cut it out with our Maker 3. Okay, once you have printed, then you can come over to your base material. I'm going to choose copy paper. I almost always use more pressure. That's up to you. You can choose what will work for you. And now we're ready to go over to the Cricut. Now, I've been saying Cricut Maker. All of these steps are the same, no matter if you're using the Maker or the Explorer. So we're all ready to load it into our Cricut. It is all ready to load into my Cricut. Some things. Leave the paper alone. Do not cut it out in advance. You need that black square there. You need this border there. And that's the same thing on the silhouette. Leave the paper alone. Put it the full 8.5 by 11 onto the mat in the upper left-hand corner. Then you simply load. And what it's going to do is just double check that all the right tools are in place. In case you've been switching out tools, this is where the Cricut will tell you that the tool is incorrect and you need to switch it out. But mine should be correct. And then we're going to get started. Once I press the play button or the make it button, what's going to happen is it's going to check the registration marks and then it will start to cut. All right, so I hope this was helpful. I hope this gave you some information on how to cut your printables out on either the Silhouette or the Cricut software. Let me know if you are having trouble. Let me know some issues that you're running into, and we will try to troubleshoot that in the coming days. But let me know how your first print and cut experience goes. It really does open up a whole world. It may take a little bit of time to learn and get used to, but it does save you time and a lot of hand aching in the long run. I want to thank you for joining me as always. I hope you have a fabulous week, and as always, keep it creative.